Well, I'm Blevin, and this is Llwyncelyn Memorial Hall. Llwyncelyn is about 2 miles south of Abereiron in Ceredigion. The hall was built for the residents and the surrounding district, so we're officially called Llwyncelyn and District Memorial Hall, or in Welsh, Neuadd Llwyncelyn ar Cylch. So on the weekends, there's nothing actually booked, kind of permanently booked. What happens on weekends is the children's birthday parties, basically. And then other groups actually come here on weekends as well. We've had the Girl Guides here, cat protection group here coming fairly regularly. And the reason we're so popular is because we're right in the middle of the county. So as with the Dyfed-Powys Police, the people up in Aberystwyth can come down here, and we're halfway between Aberystwyth and Cardigan. And we're right on the main road, and there's plenty of parking spaces. The original building was built in 1921. The village got together in Llwyncelyn and the surrounding area, and they bought the plot where we are now for £20 apparently in 1919. And then they bought an old hut from the military, which they carted up here by train to Abereiron. And that is the old hall until the year 2000, when we put in an application with a lottery grant. And the hall, as you see it now, was rebuilt in 2002 and officially opened in 2003. And has been very well used ever since, actually. Something's going on here just about every day. As a hall, we're breaking even basically every year financially, but costs are going up. Energy costs are going up substantially. We haven't raised the prices since we opened, but with prices going up, costs may have to rise. And as a result, less things may go on here. People may not be able to afford it. One of the reasons why we're doing what we want to do is to actually reduce our costs by cheaper energy, for instance. So then we don't have to raise the prices for the people using the hall. So they can actually still come here and still do the classes that they do, or the groups that they meet together, but also to actually make it warmer. Because the people who are already coming here are actually going to enjoy the place that much more. We'd been thinking about actually solar panels. So, the email came from Carvo to actually say there's grants available. So we thought that was a chance to do something. And then Carvo were using Severn Wye, and Severn Wye came in and actually did the survey for us and actually identified then what was cost effective, what was beneficial, where we would actually benefit the most, and what would give you good payback time. They also invited a company called CRS. Tim came along, and he was very, very helpful in actually looking at the building, looking at insulation, bringing in an expert to see how much we'd benefit. And as it happened, because the hall is relatively new, there's already insulation in the cavity and what have you. So it really pointed us towards what would benefit us most. So insulation wasn't one, whereas solar panels were. Changing the boiler to a far more efficient boiler. From memory, a boiler would be about 30 to 40% more efficient than the one we've got. And also the fact that if we used a hybrid boiler, we could actually develop then into air source in the future if that was the way to go. They came with expertise which we didn't have, that was the big benefit. We've also gone for solar panels. We're actually going for batteries as well, so we can use our electricity, particularly when the hall is being used in the evening. And the third bit then is insulation. The cavity walls are insulated, but there is one small area where there's a small building alongside the new hall, and we were going to put a link between the two after the construction. It's never happened, and so that area is not as insulated as the rest of the building. So, one, it's warmer for them straight away. Two, it's cheaper for the hall because we're not using so much oil. And three, it may actually encourage more people to come here. With the solar panels that we're putting in, we're also putting in a method where the grid fails, the batteries automatically kick in, so we've still got power in the hall. So if we ever have another storm Dara, where the hall is hit as well, people will still be able to come in here be warm and actually have some hot drinks or hot food, whatever. The big help where we benefited from Severn Wye and Carvo was when they did a survey for us. One thing that shocked me a bit was the payback period for, say, solar panels or the boiler. But you're talking about a few £1,000s. And with the amount of oil that we use, the payback time would actually be quite a bit. And with the solar panels, to pay about £10,000 and then not get your money back for 20 years is not something that the hall could actually afford. But through Severn Wye and Carvo, a grant could actually cut the cost substantially and makes it more financially viable and more sustainable. The next steps as a group is actually going back to the survey that Severn Wye did for us. And there are little things there like motion sensor lighting. There's even something with a boiler where you can actually control the boiler with a mobile phone. So people don't have to come down here and switch the heating on, switch the heating off when groups are finished. The big thing in the future probably will be an air source. Other things may crop up before then, but we see.